All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. Oh, wait. Hold on. I know what I have to do.
Pretty cool.
Hello?
Hello.
We did it! Woo!
You can hear me.
It's working.
It's kind of annoying. I can't. Okay, that's so cool. There we go. That's fine. How you doing?
Good. Is this your first time using Guest Star?
Yeah, I had the feature pop up on my stream like a little bit ago in the dashboard. No, not had a chance to use it yet. And so I'm like, I think I can accept this. Is that my first my first run? So yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome on to the show, guys. This is Sam. If you guys haven't heard of him, I'll let you kind of do your little introduction to the chat.
I do YouTube things, and that's it. No. So I am. Oh god, where do I start? How far back do you want me to go? Because I can go like from birth, or are we talking?
You know what kind of like content do you do as a creator?
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
So I make, I guess, guide and tutorial content for YouTubers. I do a lot of videos on visuals, so camera, lighting, sound design, editing, all that fun stuff, as well as brand design, Twitch overlays, graphics, and storytelling. I make videos and I make better videos, essentially.
Awesome. So the goal of today is not to teach you, oh, how do you upload a YouTube video, but to really dive into the space and how you can become successful as a creator there. So there's kind of two facets, right? There's people who are currently looking to make a complete leap with live streaming and shorts and video content. And then we also have people who don't want to kind of make that big jump, but start to dabble with YouTube while still maintaining their live stream. So we'll kind of consider both of these situations as people kind of really take YouTube seriously, which you should. And hopefully we can kind of help shed some light on how to be successful over there. Does that sound good?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So with that, let me bring my notes here to the forefront. Okay, so let's talk about kind of the mysterious algorithm, the meta of YouTube. How do people figure this out? How do people figure out what's going to be working and what doesn't?
So with the algorithm, a lot of people treat it as like, for lack of a better word, like some kind of omnipotent god in the sky of YouTube that like determines what your video, how your video performs and how it shouldn't. But the simplest way to kind of think about the algorithm is to swap the word algorithm and swap it for audience. And so that's kind of how I've been trying to kind of explain the YouTube algorithm to people. Is YouTube's algorithm is a recommendation system based on what the audience likes to watch. So if you make good videos that people watch, YouTube recommends them. It's a very simple practice. And so in terms of like kind of like a lot of people try to play that and try and kind of come with like clickbait titles and clickbait thumbnails and things like that. And they, in the past, kind of worked. You know, there was an era of YouTube where like I guess 2014, maybe kind of earlier than that, clickbait was rife. And you see an awful lot with certain game genres that still try and play and lean into that clickbait stuff, and they don't really see much traction unless the YouTuber is already massive. So that's kind of the difference between the algorithm and thinking it as like kind of like this, like these lines of code that determine whether or not you are successful or not on YouTube. Think of it as an audience and make videos that are simply good and that people watch and enjoy, and that's how kind of the meta kind of works essentially.
Gotcha. And so I know that one of the pieces of advice that I give to streamers is, you know, watch your own VODs and like, would you watch yourself? Like, is your quality good? Do those basic checks. Would you recommend the same for YouTubers?
I would recommend doing that, absolutely, but also looking at what other YouTubers are doing, because if something works well for somebody else, it's more than likely going to work well for you. If there's an audience for it, it's about looking at what people are interested in as a market rather than, oh, is my camera gone off? I just saw my camera flicker then for a second.
Yeah, blame Twitch.
We'll blame Twitch as usual. Yeah, so like looking at what market you're in. For example, like I'm in the content creator help guide market. So for me, because I've left Alpha Gaming and Senpai Gaming now, I would consider them a quote unquote, a competitor, for lack of a better word, or somebody that I'm, exactly. But like, it's not so much as black and white as, oh, I'm against these people. It's more so, okay, what are they doing that's successful, and what can I guess, like, take inspiration from and create and make into my own thing.
For sure.
Because it's, as long as you're not copying word for word everything, as long as you're not ripping the video and just remaking it in your own way, and you're doing your own stuff, there's no such thing as like originality on YouTube. There's always a repackaging of ideas. You know, it's how you market and package those ideas that makes each one unique to you. And that's kind of the difference. So in terms of looking at your own stuff, yes, watch your own stuff back, try and improve on little things, one thing per video, whether it's your editing, your sound, your camera work, your lighting, your audio, all that stuff, right? Try and improve one thing per video, and look at what other people are doing and take advice, inspiration from those, and see, okay, I want to do this video. Does this video exist already? What is the title of those videos? What is the thumbnail of those videos? What are when was it uploaded, and what were the views for it? So you kind of like a checklist of like, oh, okay, this video has got a large viewership, there's a larger market for us. I know people are watching this. It's from somebody who's not too big on YouTube, so there's a potential for me to also take a little bit of the market share from that. And so you just kind of go through and kind of do the motion to go, right, this video is oversaturated, or this video needs to cover these things that I know about. I want to do that and make that my angle. So it's about repackaging, finding what your audience wants to watch, essentially.
Yeah. And I just realized my camera hadn't been on for you, so if you needed that,
okay, now it's all
on
good.
The guest star.
That's all good.
But yeah, I think that's honestly like some really important points there. I think one thing that creators need to realize is like, you don't have to have the most unique content. You don't have to create something that doesn't exist. You can totally like take ideas from other channels and just, you know, make it your own, make it something that people recognize you for, right? Add your own opinion or your own spin to it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so like when you do that, it does, what's the word? Like, so like, I mean, everyone's got a video on YouTube on how to do OBS plugins. Everyone's got videos about OBS plugins, but the way that you market and the way that you package those videos will make it different for, you know, for new people coming in. So I'm trying to give an example of videos that I've done in the past. I mean, there's a blatant example of this actually was the video about kind of editing mistakes. And I've seen tons of people doing videos and editing mistakes. And I thought, how can I make that unique for me and repackage it knowing what I know? So I did a live stream with it. And I did a live stream where I re-edited people's videos. You know, they sent in their YouTube videos, I picked some and I re-edited them. And so I did that live, and I gave advice and gave feedback and told them what they can improve on. And any normal person, any content creator will look at that and go, right, top tail, do some kind of bits in the middle of it, upload. I kind of went above and beyond that. I thought, that's not me. So I'm not that kind of creator that kind of just likes to do that. And so I used the opportunity to make a full-length video breaking down each person and talking about the problems that they had. And so like I went into more detail than I could in the live stream and made it more refined.
Yeah.
And gave specific examples of things that could be improved on. So I kind of remade the live stream, but formatted for that YouTube audience, essentially. And that's how I repackaged it. And then I found thumbnails that worked, found titles that worked, and I used those in the video.
So let's expand on this a little bit more, because this is one of my questions coming up is, for the creators who out there who are, you know, they still want to live stream primarily, but they want to dabble with YouTube, start making videos. How can a streamer leverage their existing content, their, you know, 7-hour stream that they just did, into something that could be successful on YouTube?
So one of the big things here, and I'm going to say this, and I mean this with most streamers on Twitch, I don't think go into a live stream with the intention of making content. I think, I'm going to throw it like an arbitrary number, like maybe like 90% of streamers on Twitch, like non-affiliates and affiliates, are streaming for the purpose of going live and just doing that monotony kind of automate, like it's like autopilot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's there's no intention, there's no drive, there's no like angle, there's no path for them to kind of go down. And I think a lot of people on Twitch, other creators on Twitch, kind of do that. And for me, I've kind of made over the last probably like year or so a distinction between content creation and live streaming. I don't see them as the same thing. Somebody can go live and chat to 5 people, and that's not creating content in my eyes. That's just you're talking to an audience. Or if you go in with the intention of doing something specific, that is, for me, like, that is you are in essence creating content from your live stream. So the first thing I would say is, if you're going to do a 7-hour live stream, plan something before that. Go in with like a checklist of things you want to do and want to achieve, and go, okay, I'm going to start with this, start with this, start with this, start with this. And there's actually a couple of videos on my channel where we've explored idea generation for live streams. I'm working on a video that kind of shows the start, middle, and end of that entire process in a bit more detail as well. But it's coming up with an idea that kind of is different to just the traditional Let's Play, because Let's Plays are very... I consider Let's Plays are the podcasts of gaming. Like, you can record a 3-hour podcast, throw it up, and complain that no one's watching or getting views and all that fun stuff. And it's just there's an entry level for effort, I think, that there needs to be. And I think if you're doing a 7-hour live stream, you got to plan it out and go, okay, I want to make this video by the end of this week. This live stream is going to help me in capturing the content required for that live stream. So you plan out what kind of things you want to capture. Say if you're playing Apex Legends and you're doing a video on one of the great kind of content creators that's kind of become a name on my stream is a guy called Ragtag. He's an amazing Scottish content creator, and his storytelling with his videos is he can use any game and the same storytelling techniques apply in every sense. Instead of using the game as your kind of story basis, it's okay, I'm playing Apex Legends, that's what the video is about. Instead of making it about the game, you make it about your story and your narrative through that game. You can use any game that you want. So make it about the creator and your journey. It's kind of universal.
So what do you mean by that? Like, so would you say, okay, I'm gonna play this game and my goal is this, or I've never done this before, or I need to do this, I need to achieve this kind of thing? Is that what you mean by like driving a story?
So essentially, so kind of to run down the basics of what, like, kind of, I mean, I explain it more in a lot more detail in one of my videos, but like, think of yourself as a character going on wanting to achieve a goal. So as an example, there was my friend Irish, who we did a video on and helped to make a video. She's a horror content creator. So her objective in a game she played was to she couldn't scream in a game. And so we made that the goal, that if she completes 3 runs of a video game that she plays where she can't scream, she wins. She's good. However, there are things that chat will do to try to make her scream, like jump scares. we both use ATEM, so like she had ATEM channel point triggers to trigger sound effects and video files and all that. And so things would scare her, along with like a thing called Dixper as well, that allowed to like them to control the game and freeze the game and things like that. So if she got scared, she had to do the highest level difficulty level, at the end. That was a forfeit. If she lost, that was a forfeit. And by simplicity, it's a character going on a goal and conflicts along the way to prevent that person from getting that goal.
Yeah.
And so you can do that proactively, which I like to kind of call it proactive content creation and reactive content creation. So proactive means you know what the idea is when you go into it, you know what you got to capture, because at the end of it, you're going to make X video. Reactive content creation is you go in and you record, say, I don't know, like a 7-hour live stream, you record it. You then reactively look at that content and go, this was a point of the stream that I want to focus on, and make that the kind of story arc or kind of the main conflict of the video. Then I'm going to now record extra content, either pieces to camera, record voiceover, and I'm going to add extra bits to this to make that context make sense. And that's reactive. So you're reacting to what you've just done.
Yeah.
And so for us, it was a bit of proactive and reactive for that video. It's because we had an idea that she'd either win or lose by the end of it, and then we let her go on and stream. But the last game she played, there was a particular. The game was Phasmophobia, and so there was a particular point where the ghost was either one ghost or it was a mimic. A mimic can mimic other ghosts. So it was either she gets it right or she gets it wrong, because it can be any ghost in the thing now. We didn't plan for that. We didn't plan for that particular kind of twist in the story, but retroactively, we looked at that and made that the thing that either made her win or made her lose.
Yeah.
And we added emphasis to that story. And so that's kind of the things I think creators need to kind of look at is, okay, rather than going into a live stream just to stream, it's like, okay, what can I do proactively that might work as content? And then look at that live stream afterwards and go, okay, this is what I got. This can be used, but this was better from the stream. And I'm going to lead into this and use this as a moment that I want to play on.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So, you know, sometimes I like the idea of like planning out and like doing goal driven stuff. And I think the great thing about that is it's also really good for the stream itself too, right? It lends, you know, an additional purpose to the experience as a viewer. Like also when you have that kind of like direct interaction with the content as well, I think that playing games, especially like story heavy games or single player games, can be extra challenging because there's not as much variance, and you know, if it's a game that is, you know, 50 hours long, people just don't want to commit to it. But if you can set out and do something with a twist, like for example, Witcher 3 or Fallout, those are great series that everyone has already seen. And so people don't really care if you go and play Witcher 3 or Fallout 4 today because it's years old and everyone's seen, been there, done that. But if you can do mods or do some sort of challenge, like go on a specific type of run, now you've done compelling content for your own stream, and that's much more digestible when you carry that out to YouTube as well, because storytelling is really, really big on YouTube. Like I think people like to think, like you mentioned, people like to think of the algorithm as like, oh, I just manipulate it this way, and my video is going to succeed. And that's not necessarily the case. Like ultimately, you should be thinking of as, would people watch this? Is this something that a person would like? Because that is basically how the algorithm works at this point.
Yeah, it's audience based. It's what do people enjoy watching for extended periods of time, and it's not so much for one video either. It leads into multiple videos. Because so the idea behind YouTube, just like Twitch, is the point of YouTube is to people to stay on the platform for as long as possible to drive ads. That's why they get the money. It's do ad stuff. You know, it's the same thing on Twitch. You watch streams, you get served ads, and you do all that fun stuff. And raids help transition communities from one to the other.
Keep them on the platform.
It's a process. Keep them on the platform. So what YouTube likes to look at is what I like to call like session times. So a session time might be 1, 2, or 3 of your videos that people are jumping between. And so it's not so much thinking about kind of what one video does for one person, it's what potentially another video could do as well. So a lot of the things that I preach in my videos is things to get rid of. Like the people that like always like to think about intros and outros. I've completely ditched like opening a video saying, hey guys, I'm Sam, welcome back to the channel, all that fun stuff. I dive right in. I don't waste time. I actually, you know, where is it? I have little cards here. Whenever I do live streaming, I have these little things right here. It's respect the viewer's time and then show, don't tell, because they keep coming up consistently in my on my stream that I have cards to kind of like pin up to the screen when it happens. But respecting viewers' time and then leading him at the outro, but going, right, if you enjoy this, if you want to see like more tips and tricks, check out this video, boom, end the video. And that's it. Like you want to keep that big, one of the big things on YouTube is retention time. And that's kind of one of the biggest stats to look at on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like also with how social media has changed us, our attention spans are so short. Like I think TikTok has been a big driver to people expecting and wanting short content. They want the information, they want it right to them. So like, you know, you don't need to spend a lot of time prefacing what's going to happen. You know, like focus on delivering that content within a reasonable amount of time, because otherwise, again, there's just infinite content out there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah, so let's talk a little bit about live streaming on YouTube, and then we're gonna get into discoverability on YouTube as a whole. So, have you live streamed on YouTube yourself yet?
I have live streamed. Oh gosh, how many times have I done it now? I think 3. I want to say 2 or 3 times. I'm much more conscious of streaming on YouTube because I like to think of that as a very. I like to be intentional when I go live on YouTube versus Twitch. I feel like I like to make sure those streams hit on and deliver a value that I want to give. And whereas with Twitch, it's probably because of out of habit, but I feel like Twitch is one of those platforms that's like meh kind of things where if I go live, I go live. But like with YouTube, I very specifically have an intentional. This is what I want to do when I go live on YouTube. But I've been on it like about 2 or 3 times now.
Gotcha. So how does your experience on live streaming, or from what you've seen on YouTube, how does it compare to Twitch? And you can talk about this in almost any sort of way, right?
I think it's definitely different. But what the biggest thing for me is I don't see as either one as negatives or as positives. I just see them as different. And I just think that like most Twitch streamers that are kind of comparing Twitch and YouTube are comparing them on the basis of the live streaming capabilities. And I feel like I always need to say something like, well, YouTube isn't Twitch and Twitch isn't YouTube. They both serve 2 different functions.
Yeah.
YouTube is a video platform that does live streaming, and Twitch is a live streaming platform that does nothing else. So that's kind of how I like define it. And so it's just a different kind of ecosystem in general. And like I think it's a mental shift. I think I mentioned this the other day on Twitter, where it's a mental shift that I think a majority of Twitch streamers are going to have to get over.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of people think of Twitch and they think of live first, whereas on YouTube it's video first for the majority of it.
Right.
You can still do live streaming stuff, but I think live streaming has a very it depends. If traditional live streaming, the way we do it on Twitch, has a very, 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 very low shelf life expectancy. Like it's not a great thing to have on a channel for long. If you're just going to be live and just doing Let's Plays, it's like, there's no point in doing that on YouTube. But if you do it correctly and you mark each live stream like it's a video, and you have a good title and a good thumbnail, and you are intentional with that live stream, I think being on YouTube has you've got more of an advantage to grow. But you also need to do the other stuff. You need to make videos, do shorts. Not so much videos. Shorts are a great way to get discovered, especially with live content. But I just feel like YouTube, you need to be able to create content that is going to help you get discovered when you're not live, and help kind of push your channel out there even more.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the caveat with Twitch is like the content that you make on Twitch is only valuable while you're doing it. And on YouTube it really kind of facilitates the trifecta of 3 different types of content from one piece of content. And that's why I think intentionally live stream is something they're focused on. But I think it's more so to show that it's not just live streaming. Like, and I think what has happened is all these big creators that have moved to YouTube, they start to kind of really realize that streaming all the time and doing that solely is kind of detrimental to your mental health and your happiness. And while you can live stream a fraction of the time and utilize that content on the other different ways, that YouTube will help you grow as a creator.
Absolutely. You can do a live for 6 hours a week. If you do 3-hour live streams, and in that time you focus on capturing content for shorts and videos, you can spend the rest of the time either editing or relaxing for the most part. Like you can kind of, it's like a reprioritization of priorities essentially. And like the thing that I like to think of is the 80-20 rule with this kind of stuff. It's majority of your effort's in the live stream, and then 20% of your effort is then going towards, if 80% of the work you're doing is in the live stream and kind of capturing the content there, you can then utilize that and then repurpose that content out to shorts and longer form videos.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of reframing the perspective on, again, it's going live with intention and figuring out kind of what you want to do when you're live.
So now obviously there are people who are really kind of just into live streaming. Like they don't want to have to make videos or anything like that. They just want to stream and they want to potentially explore a different platform. Do you think that it's possible for a Twitch streamer that just really wants to do that, maybe some video content here or there, but really just mostly live stream? Is that something that can be possible on YouTube Gaming?
I think it's possible. However, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where, because live streaming is it's a very long form, piece of media. Like you got to connect with someone really, really quickly in order to stick around in the live streams. And so I think for me personally, I would say it is possible. This is kind of my own opinion on this. I think it is possible. However, you've got a lot more work cut out for you if you've got to compete against, as a live streamer, and you're just solely live streaming, you've got to compete against other channels that are uploading video-based content. That's like, oh, I could either watch this live streamer that's been live for 6 hours, or I could watch this 10-minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
And for me, it's one of those things that's kind of that's the deciding factor, is which one is a more clickable thumbnail, which one's a more clickable title. For me, as a personal viewer, like, I would much rather watch a 10-minute video to understand a person better than hang around for 10 minutes in a live stream and not get a sense of their personality within those 10 minutes. That's kind of how I see it. Is like, I'd rather watch the video because, well, it's convenience.
Yeah.
But I get a much greater sense of the kind of content that I might enjoy from your live stream.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like, you can go live, but it's gonna be one of those things where you might feel like you're holding some like weights. It's like, you know, you're treading water a little bit, while other people might see some progression by doing videos and shorts. And so a little bit of video, some videos here and there, maybe like a couple of shorts a week, I think is pretty normal to ask for when it comes to YouTube stuff. And most creators are doing that anyway. I find it kind of funny that Twitch is the only platform that you make content on for other platforms to be discovered on Twitch.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very backwards way of thinking. It's a super backwards way of kind of thinking about it. And so I'm just like, if you're going to be doing that, if you're going to be making content like, you know, shorts or TikToks or things like that, short form and long form, you might as well put it on YouTube and like utilize the auto discoverability tools and the things that are in there to help you grow on that platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about shorts actually. So for those that don't know, shorts is basically YouTube's TikTok, right? It's short form content. Yes. It's capped to a minute long. It has its own type of feed that you can swipe through, but it's also integrated in the ecosystem quite a bit. So tell me about your experience with shorts so far. How do you like it?
Well, I actually think they're really powerful, because especially now. So as of recently, so up until recently, YouTube broke things with the algorithm. So what would happen is the algorithm, the two recommendation systems weren't talking to each other, because shorts is fed through a different delivery system. It's fed through the mobile app. Yeah. Or it's fed through the desktop through the little page they have. And so the long form standard recommendation system wasn't talking to the short form all that well. So people weren't getting recommended content from either side. But now they're starting to bridge that gap now. As I think since August, they had they did like a panel at some kind of convention, and they said that recommended content now looks at shorts and long form. So if you've watched a bunch of shorts from a creator that you enjoy, you'll start getting recommended the long form videos, and you'll start getting recommended the stuff that they do. So maybe, you know, like live as well. So that's one thing to consider with doing short form, because one, they're really not that difficult to make. You can probably pump out a good, you know, 4 to 5 shorts in the time it takes you to edit one YouTube video, and like you can then schedule them out across the week. I think they encapsulate and are really useful for gaming creators that want to show off highlights in their stream without making a highlight video. They're just more digestible and just, I think, more attractive to a streamer that wants to grow quickly, in my opinion. I think the way the shorts work is for quick growth, but it's like shorts are the quick growth, quick views kind of thing. Long form is the returning viewership. That's kind of, I think, where the defining factor is. It's like your long form and maybe since your lives are where the returning viewers come back in, and your shorts are getting the quick views, quick attention that you want to get from that kind of short form stuff. Right.
I mean, and just like you said, like even if you want to stream on Twitch, if you care about growing at all, then you're going to want to take your Twitch clips, take short clips, and post them on other platforms. And every other platform except Twitter requires the content to be in a vertical manner. So if you already spent the time, if you're posting on TikTok, you've already made a video that you can now post on Instagram Reels and Shorts as well at the same time. So for the effort of one piece of content that's short form, which is the best way to market your content, like you can post on 4 platforms at the same time. So it's really powerful. Like of all the things you could do to grow as a creator, it's definitely leaning into short clips.
Yeah, it definitely leans into the 80-20 rule as well. But I also kind of want to add an emphasis on clips. Edited, well edited clips, I think, is a good factor, because I've seen so many people just pull a thing from their stream and upload it and kind of go, there we go, I'm done with that. And it's like putting in just a little bit of effort to add subtitles, add, you know, sound effects, and, you know, emphasize certain points, adds a lot. It adds entertainment value. It adds that factor that makes your stream feel like it's, oh, I might check this person out because they actually, you know, this is really, really funny. So just putting a little bit of effort into making your short attractive for the wider audience, I think goes from, like, you know, like a 3 to like an 11 on the scale, in my opinion.
Okay,
So.
gotcha. Yeah, and we're gonna talk a little bit about editing in a bit, but I do want to, before we move on to discoverability, since we're kind of getting there, I did have a question from someone in chat asking about thumbnails for live streaming. Is this something you've heard of, you've seen? Should people be making thumbnails for their live stream?
Yes, for YouTube especially because if you go to the YouTube like page, there's thumbnails all over the place.
Yeah.
And you need to make your stream look attractive, especially on YouTube. On Twitch, it's not so much because you can't put a custom thumbnail on a Twitch stream, so it doesn't really make it a difference. But on YouTube especially, if you are doing, you know, an event or some kind of first look at a video game, or you're doing like you need to make the title and the thumbnail just like you would on a YouTube video. And that, I think, is, again, another big hurdle that a lot of Twitch streamers have, you know, maybe a little bit apprehensive about, because it's like, oh, I've got to think about titles and thumbnails now for my live streams. What's the point of why did I have to change that? You know, why have I got to do that? And it's just, again, it's the difference between Twitch and YouTube. It's, you know, you're gonna make it clickable. You're gonna make people, and I honestly think it's better in some ways as well, because it's showing that you are putting in the efforts to get those clicks in. And like on Twitch's auto-generated things, unless you got an amazing auto-generated thumbnail by Twitch that's like something nuts going on, then using the custom thumbnails is an advantage. You are getting an advantage by uploading a thumbnail that you've designed and made it look really clickable, and having a really good title that gets people to click. I think that is an advantage over Twitch, in my opinion.
I mean, I would even argue that creators, like streamers on Twitch, should be thinking about their title and their thumbnail more, because even though it's not really a big component of discoverability in terms of people searching that and being fed like a recommended stream based on their title, like the first 4 to 5 words in a title of a stream is literally how people assess you, right? If you're in the directory, what do people see? They see your avatar, they see the first 5 words of your title, and they see your thumbnail. Now, you can't choose what your thumbnail, but you can be conscious of what it looks like. And so things like, what does the background look like? You know, what does your overlay look like? Where, like, look at on the thumbnails, like what's being covered up. Like there's like a live and a timer and stuff like that. Like look at what's being covered by those little factors on the thumbnail. And so you can still be a little conscious of that, you know, even though you can't necessarily control it. So I think streamers should be thinking about that kind of stuff more. And obviously it plays huge on YouTube. Like I think would you say those are the 2 most important factors in discoverability when it comes to YouTube content?
Absolutely. Yeah. Title, thumbnail, and topic. The 3 T's. Title, thumbnail, topic. Especially if it's a long form video that you've pre-recorded, having an idea of the topic that you're covering, because you can have a banger thumbnail and a banger title, but if the topic's not interesting and nobody wants to watch it, there's no point. It's lacking that third pillar. So it's like you've tipped the scales unevenly. So when it comes to thumbnails on live streams, absolutely 10 out of 10. You know, it absolutely needs to be a priority. So yeah.
Cool. So let's kind of expand upon this when it comes to discoverability on YouTube. Like so thumbnails are a big one. What are things that creators should be thinking about when they're creating a thumbnail for their YouTube video?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple of things that kind of need to be important when it comes to thumbnails. So keeping it simple really does work for a lot of this stuff. Like some people overload thumbnails with a lot of detail, and a lot of kind of emphasis on things, they're that big on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're not going to see a lot. So you need to keep them simple. You need to understand the scale in which they're going to be seen. A really good tool that I like to use, I think we're going to talk about tools later on, but like tools I like to use is called Thumbs Up TV. Is a great tool. Thumbsup.tv is a way for you to see how your thumbnail looks in the YouTube scale and with the player and the title and everything. So like it's a super useful tool. And so the kind of just keeping it simple so it fits at that smaller resolution. Creating curiosity is a big thing on YouTube. You want to create the sense of like, what is this video going to be about? You want to give people like an interesting like, okay, what could this video be about if with the title and thumbnail combo? So curiosity, intrigue, using like vibrant colors and using like things that are going to attract attention, essentially, you know, buzzwords, text. There's a whole thing. I've got a thumbnail workshop that I'm working on right now that kind of goes into more detail on this.
Nice.
And kind of breaks that down into more detail. But ideally, things are just simplicity. If you look at any big YouTuber's thumbnail and kind of what they do, you'll see that they don't go overboard on. I think there's a YouTuber that I've just recently kind of his name's I think Brad something, and I can't quite remember his name, but he's done videos on the quarry, and his thumbnails are just high resolution images, close-ups of the characters' faces from the quarry. And I think it was a playthrough and kind of and like a journey. It was a playthrough because he's a larger YouTuber. They can kind of get away with doing let's plays.
Yeah.
And it was just a high-res image of each character's face kind of for each thumbnail in like with all the lighting and the graphics and everything, and they look really, really good. And with just the part number and some really nice text in the corner, and that's it. And it's got tons of views. I think he changed all of his thumbnails to those, and they had a spike in viewership because they're simple. It's what they want to see. So simplicity, creating curiosity, and understanding what your audience likes, understanding kind of what your audience enjoys and watches already. That's a big help. So if you know that a lot of people are watching tech-based videos, you know that having the tech in the thumbnail as the primary image is going to get more clicks and maybe you kind of hiding it or doing something kind of cool with it.
Yeah. And I think, I actually want to talk about that a little bit of like, because for a while it was like the meta of, you know, someone's face, reaction shot.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was that. Do you think that works for smaller creators?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're playing into and using that, I think if it works for the people, absolutely take it and use it for your own stuff. Because you know that if it's getting clicks, it's working. But what most people will do is when they recognize a creator because of the creator's face, they'll click on it. It's like Mr. Beast does it all the time because people know who Mr. Beast is because it's Mr. Beast's face. They'll click on it because it's a Mr. Beast video, yada, yada, yada. So your face in the thumbnail, there's a kind of like a weird stipulation that having your face in the thumbnail makes it better or gets more clicks. There's actually no... Google uses some kind of AI machinery to understand what is in a thumbnail. And there's some cool AI tools that I've used in the past that actually kind of break down heat maps of where the attention is. And sometimes faces don't get that much attention. It's usually the stuff in the background that's reacting to that gets the most attention because there's more going on. So with the right text and the right words and the kind of the right graphics you're using, you don't even need to put your face in the thumbnail. As long as it's got a clickable title and it's just demonstrating something specific, you don't need to have those things.
Gotcha.
So for smaller creators, it might be beneficial to not have their face in the thumbnail, at least when they're starting out. But it doesn't hurt to have it in either because, you know, it's one of those things where they don't know who you are yet, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Kind of thing. So that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah. Okay. So then next up we have the title.
Okay.
So what are some considerations? How should people think about designing a title for a YouTube video?
Oh gosh. So just like my thumbnails, I come up with about 10 titles for a video. I don't do 10 thumbnails. Although saying that, I did a video on the Atom software recently. I did 13 thumbnail variations for that.
Oh my god.
So I take a long time on thumbnails and titles. It's probably the most important part of the video. And I usually have like a rough idea before I even start making stuff. Before I even start getting down to like writing the script, I kind of know what I want the video title and the thumbnail to look like. And so I'll draw up some rough ideas of like, this is kind of where I'm starting at. Here's a title that I want to go with. And then I do the video, then come back to title and the thumbnail.
Oh, we lost Sam for a sec. Hold on. Hold your horses.
There's no kind of evidence to say this works on YouTube, but I think for me,
Sam.
Thumbnail titles under 50 characters are usually better because the way that YouTube truncates the title with the dots at the end, with the ellipses at the end, it kind of like makes it, you know, it cuts off certain words. So I kind of try and keep things below 50 characters.
Test. Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, I can hear you.
We lost you for a minute there, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You totally dropped out, and then you could not hear me.
Oh, I can hear you now.
We're gonna have to
rewind.
We didn't get very far in the title.
Where did you get to? What was it?
What was the last thing? It was titles are very important. And you did 13 variations of
30 variations for the 8 and 1. Yeah. So that was the thumbnal, but for the title, I think there's about 10 titles. So are we good now still?
Okay, yes, we are good. Guest star is having some problems, but I think we're good now.
Yeah, okay, Twitch.
So tell us again about titles. Why are titles important? What do we need them for?
Titles are important because they are what get the click. So for me, I have like a kind of a, what's the word I'm after? Like a kind of a guideline to have. I usually keep my titles under 50 characters if I can. That's kind of like a rule that I have. Gotcha. Because the way that I've noticed YouTube is with titles, I don't like the words cutting off on the end of titles. So if it's too long, it does the ... Okay. It kind of, you know, it doesn't get, it kind of carries on the title.
Yeah.
So depending on what video you're doing, that's always not possible. But I usually kind of keep it as a under 50 characters, usually perform a little bit better because of how the way that YouTube, this is people looking at the video titles. It's a people thing. It's like, oh, I can read that in one thing. I'm going to hover over it, click, that kind of thing. Gotcha. So with titles, it really comes down to, as simple as it sounds, it's what makes the video look the most attractive without being clickbait. So you can be attractive as possible, but you can't mislead the user, mislead the viewer.
So that's what you're defining as clickbait. Clickbait is like something that's like just not what the video actually is. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Like I'll call them out because I think it's hilarious. A couple of years ago, there was a ton of Fortnite streamers, not popular ones right now, but a lot of kind of up and coming Fortnite people that would stream Fortnite events that were never happening, and it'd be countdown clocks, and I'd have viewers of like 1,800, 2,000 viewers of people watching to see if there's any changes to the map or whatever. Yeah. And it wasn't. It was all clickbait. It was like, oh my god, Fortnite event happening right now, countdown, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And there's probably people in chat that know exactly what I'm talking about with that one. And those are the things that is clickbait. You're trying to get the click in. You're trying to get the viewer in, and not delivering on the promise that you're making with the title and the thumbnail. So consider the title and the thumbnail as a promise to the viewer. You can exaggerate the promise in an attractive way to make it appealing to more people. But as long as you deliver what you're talking about and you explain and you give, you basically kind of make the video worth it, then you can make the title whatever it is, as long as it remains true to the promise that you're making that you're going to talk about in the video. I could say that, like, if I have a microphone and say this is the best microphone for streamers, I have to back up that claim in the video.
Right.
I have to make that reason why I think it's the best microphone for streamers and content creators, why I think this is, you should get this microphone, why you shouldn't get this microphone, why I think it's the worst microphone ever, that kind of thing. You can make that title and thumbnail as clickable as you want, as attractive as you want, as long as it retains. I call it, there was I think it was Veritasium, the channel. I think that's what I got it from. I don't think they coined it though, but there's a phrase that I use called legit bait, where you are legitimately baiting the audience into watching your video with a title and thumbnail that's attractive, but you're not setting them up to fall. You're not going, oh, that was a waste of time. I just wasted 10 minutes of my life watching a video that didn't answer the questions I was asking.
Right.
But if you legitimately open that video up with, this is what we're going to do, and you answer those questions, you can make it as attractive as you want.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense too. Like, why would you mislead people? Like, yeah, get you that first click in, but then they're not likely to follow you or to watch your next video. So that's just not a good practice,
A
right?
lot of back in the day, YouTube used to kind of do a lot of recommending on views. I'm talking like 2012, 2013 era, before the algorithm changed in
Mm,
2014, before they started looking at watch time as an important metric.
gotcha.
Watch time and CTR, those two metrics now determine what makes a video stand out. If they get a high click through, but people are watching for 2 seconds and then clicking off because the video is not what they want to watch, YouTube's not going to recommend that or deliver it to more people, because it's like, oh, it doesn't line up with what the expectations are for the viewer.
Gotcha. Duckington Finch in chat asked, if the video is supposed to be subversive, how do you make a thumbnail/title without it being considered clickbait?
If it's meant to be subversive, can you give me more examples on that? You can break that down a bit more, or
I feel like, yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of talked about it, where it's just so long as you're not lying, or like Sam said, as long as you deliver on what you're saying, you can exaggerate, right? Like you can, like with your reaction on the thumbnail, and like, the biggest mistake I've ever made in Minecraft or something like that. You know what I mean? It may not have actually been the biggest mistake, but maybe it was something that happened that, right? If you just say, oh, I made an oopsie on Minecraft, no one cares, but it's like, oh my gosh, the biggest mistake, I have to see this. You know what I mean?
Can I get a video now with Loco playing Minecraft with that title, please?
I'm so bad at Minecraft. I don't think you'd want a video about that.
That's great. Made an oopsie on Minecraft. I want to get it. It's gonna get trending. That will.
Me playing Minecraft would be the oopsies. Okay.
The oopsie. Got you. The actual whole video will be the oopsie.
All right. So then the last thing that you talked about was the topic. Okay.
Yes.
How do I figure out what is a good topic to make a video about? Is there a way to search and figure it out, or?
So on YouTube now, I don't think it's available for everyone, but I need to double check this. But on your dashboard, on your YouTube dashboard, if you go to your analytics section, there is a little research tab you can use. You can use that and search areas of interest on YouTube. So things that you might be doing interest, like do a video on. Say you want to make a video on, I don't know, a new camera's coming out. If you search for that camera, you'll be able to see traffic if it's high, and you'll be able to see if there's a content gap to that camera or for that particular topic or that particular niche or whatever. And you can make videos on that topic. So YouTube knows its own system pretty well.
Yeah.
I would hope so, at least. So it's like looking at the data that's available and giving you, oh, okay, you can do this as a content gap. If you click on the filter, you're able to kind of see what content gaps are available for that particular niche.
I'm trying to find it. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong tab. That's okay, interesting. Wow, explore what viewers are searching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can look at your viewers' searches. I'm gonna show chat.
So you can see you can show people what people are searching for. So people are watching your videos. You can kind of get an understanding, an idea of like, oh, okay, what kind of videos could I make? So like I've got one here called CapCut video editing, which I might do a video on. We'll have to see. But you can also, if you click on all searches under your viewer searches, if you click on content gaps only and apply, it'll show you where there's a content gap, which is what that means is either the viewers can't find any results for their searches, they can't find an exact match for their searches, or they can't find relevant videos to their searches, or the content is old or low quality. So someone's searching for a video editing tutorial on, I don't know, DaVinci Resolve, and the only video available is DaVinci Resolve 11. We're on DaVinci Resolve 18 now at this point. So that could be a content gap that people could take a look at and see, oh, I can make a video covering that particular example.
Interesting. Wow, I didn't even know this existed. It's something I was actually looking for. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna make a video about the the hurricane in Florida. I don't think that'd be relevant, but no. This probably gets better the more people you have also.
Exactly.
Like, the more but also just like the general, you can search for a term or topic, like Twitch hosting or something. Let's see. Twitch hosting, Twitch tips. Let's see, Twitch tips here.
It depends on kind of what people are looking for. And I think there's like tips for streaming on Twitch I have here. I've searched Twitch tips. And the search volume on that is low. Yeah. So you can like add that you can even go to Google Trends. If you click the 3 dots next to something, go to Google Trends, you can see kind of what how it looks across time, whether it's worth getting enough views on it or worth putting your time in for. You can utilize this to your advantage, and the more your audience grows and the more your viewers kind of search for stuff, the more this will kind of play to your advantage. There's other tools like TubeBuddy and vidIQ as well that kind of help in a similar way to kind of explore what your competitors are doing. So people that like like for example, again, like Senpai Gaming or Alpha Gaming, you know, people that kind of are in my niche that do the same kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is, you can get that through vidIQ.
Gotcha. That's amazing. I love that. Let's see. So we're running out of time here. Okay, so here's something I wanted to talk about. After a video goes live, do you just like, you know, put your hands up and say a prayer or cross your fingers? Like, is there anything
perform a ritual?
Right. Is there anything you can do after a video is published to potentially improve the discoverability?
So some of the things that I've kind of gone into the habit of doing is checking when it's available, because it's not immediately available, having a look at your watch time, having a look at your CTR and your impressions. Now, CTR and impressions, CTR is your click-through rate, and it's your impressions on that video on YouTube. Most people will kind of get a bit confused on CTR. They'll see a high CTR, or they'll see low views, or they'll see a low CTR with high views, and they're wondering what's going on. So that needs to be taken into account with impressions. So if your impressions are high, so YouTube's pushing that video out to more eyes, essentially. Think of that as like how many people have seen your video. It's an impression. I think we discussed impressions like you did on the boost train thing a while ago kind of thing. So like, it's how many people are seeing that video across YouTube kind of, you know.
But not necessarily watching that specific video. Exactly.
It's kind of on the billboard. It's like, you know, you are there amongst 12 other videos. Your CTR is then calculated based on those impressions. How many people of those people clicked on your video? So if you have a high amount of impressions but low CTR, means more people are seeing your video,
they're not
but not necessarily clicking it.
So you might want to change like your title, your thumbnail,
title. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's kind of how that would work. If you have a high CTR but low impressions, what that means, high CTR and low impressions means typically is that your immediate audience clicking it from notifications or from Discord or from things like that. People are going to watch that video quicker because they're getting notifications through. So your CTR will be high usually at the start of a video. Then it will dip because YouTube starts feeding it to more people as soon as, you know, as soon as it's uploaded, YouTube starts, you know, delivering it to whoever wants to watch it. But over time, that CTR goes down because your impressions are going up. And then what you'll find is it'll go back up again as the impressions start to balance and equalize. So it's a bit of like a playing game. So you have to kind of play around with your thumbnail and title. If you're not getting the views you want, change your thumbnail, change your title, that kind of thing. So check the impressions and CTR and go, okay, I'm getting a lot of impressions, but my CTR is still low. So let's change your thumbnail and see what happens. That's kind of how you juggle that.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
Trying to think of any other kind of, and then watch time. How long are people watching for? Watch time is a fantastic indicator of where people click away from your video. If people are watching for, you know, start watching 30 seconds in and there's a massive dip and then it goes back again, 30 seconds, there's something there that's distracting people, or it's making them want to skip ahead.
You'll notice usually an ad or like a something off topic.
Yeah, something like that. Like it happens a lot with sponsorship integrations in videos. So what happens is you'll see like a dip and then a spike after the integration, which means that people are clicking to that point in the video. It's kind of weird.
Interesting.
So watch time, analyze your watch time for retention, because retention will basically say how long are people watching my video for. The longer people watch that video for, YouTube's like, oh, this is entertaining, it's engaging, people are enjoying this.
People on the platform, that's what they want.
People on the platform, boom, 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 you know, that kind of thing. So it starts kind of maybe pushing that video with more impressions, you know, around the platform. It doesn't really kind of have like a, you know, it's YouTube doesn't recommend or give people your videos like, oh, you know, you can have this one, you can have this one. It just puts it front and center. And if it's noticing that it's getting a lot more views and a lot more attention, it's going to increase its impressions to get more placement time, because it thinks that more people will want to watch it, essentially. So those are kind of the three things: is watch time, CTR, and impressions. Those are kind of the big three, I'd say.
And is there, real quick, is there any like timeline for when you should be like manipulating this? Like if I look at a video a week later, is it worth bothering to do, or is it done?
I'd say, oh, you can change thumbnails whenever you want. Like, I did a video. I changed the thumbnail on a video 3 months after uploaded it. It had a pickup.
Really?
So like, it doesn't matter when, because YouTube's even old videos will constantly get recommended. The only difference is title, thumbnail. If the topic's weak, that's kind of where there's loads of little kind of
Can't
things,
really
domino
change that
things.
about a
Like,
video,
yeah, exactly. So if the thumbnail's good and the title's good, but the topic's weak, people aren't going to watch it. Thumbnail, topic, and title are all on point. Retention's bad. YouTube's gonna be like, okay, it's not as people aren't watching it for as long, so we're not going to we're not going to push it as much as anymore. That kind of thing. Like, you know, it's kind of what it's hard to explain how YouTube does that, because it doesn't like hand out video views to people. It's like, here's the video, you get the click, we'll see what happens, kind of thing, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but it does that based on watch time and your CTO and impressions and all that. So there's a bit of a juggling act. And by looking at your metrics on YouTube and the statistics, you can kind of go and balance that and go, okay, 2 weeks later, the video hasn't picked up as enough views as I would like to. I'm going to change the thumbnail and title. You can do it 48 hours after a video is uploaded. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
That's cool.
I would check. I think what's the I think it's like a day, like 24 hours. I think is the data, or 48 hours. You get the data, a lot of the data through from YouTube.
Yeah.
Check then, and then make a decision and call to go, okay, it's performing as what I want it to do. It could be like a 2 out of 10, happy days. If it's a 7, 8, 9 out of 10, have a look at the data and determine what you need to change.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay, so we're almost out of time, but I do have 2 more questions for you real quick. I know you mentioned a lot of tools. If you want to kind of list out a couple of recommendations for tools that will make a creator's life easier when it comes to YouTube content.
Okay, so there's vidIQ and Tubebuddy. Those are 2 kind of like back-end YouTube tools that I've used in the past and recommend. vidIQ, I use more nowadays than Tubebuddy. Just kind of out of preference. In terms of thumbnails, thumbsup.tv is a great tool. It lets you kind of preview what your thumbnail would look like in an aspect ratio similar to what YouTube's player looks like. An amazing tool. But if you're looking to that one step further, look at creatorml.com. Creatorml.com. That is a machine learning thumbnail analyzer that looks at, I don't know what the number is. It has it on the website, but it looks at a ton of YouTube channel, kind of like the data from YouTube channels, like a ton of them, collates and kind of uses the data from the thumbnails and titles of those videos and gives you an estimation of the CTR, views, impressions, all that fun stuff. And you can get a custom key requested from them, and you can put that into for your channel and put that in, and it will give you metrics. It will give you the data based on your channell's performance and the history of your channel.
That's awesome.
It's very accurate. It's pretty accurate. What else is there?
That was Creator ML. We linked it in chat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Also for thumbnails,
I'd say those are the big ones.
Yeah, for thumbnails, I also want to shout out the thumbnail A/B test that's built by Rox. I don't know if Rox is still here. But yeah, you can use that to A/B test 2 different thumbnails and see which one is better. So that's a really great tool too. Yeah,
I do need to check that out. But those are kind of the big tools I'd say for thumbnails and titles and kind of figuring stuff out. And then a lot of it though is down to practice. It's just down to keep going, make a new video, try new things out. If it doesn't work out, try a new video, do new things. It's a process that I think takes longer than people expect it to take. Like, it's a 5-year thing. YouTube is. It takes its time. So like, don't be so quick to just learn from each video that you do, essentially.
And for video editing, what's your go-to? And do you have a recommendation for newbies?
My go-to is Final Cut Pro, but it's at Mac only. But if you're looking to get into video editing, DaVinci Resolve is free, and it's on Windows and Mac. There is an upgraded version called DaVinci Studio, which is I think it's $299. But I want to say like 95% of the stuff you can do in the free version. Gotcha. So it's not an immediate thing to buy. So Resolve, if you're looking for thumbnail software as well to make thumbnails, Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer are both amazing pieces of kit. Right, and then they are single price purchases and all that.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
But yeah.
Last question for you, Sam. Any takeaways, any take-home tips? Last thing you want to say for people who are taking notes and learning about YouTube right now?
I think one of the biggest things I want people to kind of understand is that, oh gosh, I think it's like, take time with it. Like, you're not going to see overnight success on YouTube, and the ones that do are learned by doing other things as well. So take your time, learn with each video, get better at your editing, get better at your thumbnails, get better at your titles, improve one thing with each video, and just keep doing it. And just keep trying your best with it.
Yes, experiment, chat. All right.
Yes.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find you? What are you up to?
Oh gosh, well, I'm off to LA in less than 24 hours. So I'm going to be having a holiday for a week. But
Awesome.
I am on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. So Sam Woodhall across all those things. Twitter as well. And I'm going to be making more videos on making better videos.
Fantastic. Make sure to go follow Sam, chat. And if you missed any of this, you want to rewind, the VOD will be here until Twitch deletes it, but it'll be on forever on YouTube. So that's another plus of YouTube. They don't delete your videos.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Sam, for taking the time to really break down YouTube. I know I learned a lot, so I hope you all did too. And I'm sure we'll be chatting again at some point. So thank you so much, Sam.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.